1 in 5 high school students have considered suicide in the past year.
I have struggled with suicidal thoughts and depression for 4 years now. On September 11th, 2014, I reached my lowest point when I attempted suicide by overdose. Thankfully, I was taken to the hospital in time and received life-saving treatment, as well as the support of my family, friends, and doctors to get better. I realized that suicide is never the answer and there's always a solution to every problem.
When she was 27, my mom tried to overdose on pills. Luckily, she was able to recover in the hospital. 2 years later, she married my dad, and then I was born. If she had succeeded, I would not be here today. And just recently, one of my closer friends committed suicide. It was totally unexpected, out of the blue. He was unbelievably popular and had so many friends. At his funeral, there was well over 700 people. Now we, his friends and family, will never be able to find out his full potential.
Each suicide significantly affects 6 people.
Before the age of 10, my sister and I were best friends. And then suddenly when I turned 11 and she turned 14, she started trying to be cool and badass and skipping school and doing all of these things where she thought she was being different and cool. And when she turned 15, things went from bad to worse. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a Monday, and I was downstairs and she was upstairs. We were all doing our different things, and suddenly my mom came home. She walked upstairs, and then she came running downstairs. And I looked at her and I asked her, "Did Leonard do something bad again?" And she looked at me and she picked up the phone. And she called 911. My sister had just attempted suicide.
Depression and suicide can affect anyone, and often hide behind those who seem strong.
I'm a sophomore at Turpin High School. I'm student council class president, Key Club vice president, a soccer player, a track athlete, a snowboarder, and I suffer from severe anxiety and depression. When I was little, it got to the point where I would make myself physically sick over the thought of having to go to school. I started to miss at least 1 day a week. My depression caused me to start making more and more reckless decisions. I began to lash out at my friends and family. I would have anxiety attacks where I would want to bang my head so hard against the wall that I would just not wake up. I thought that if I did or didn't, it wouldn't matter as long as it was over. I'm in constant regret of the relationships that I ruined when I wasn't myself. I'm seeing a therapist and I do yoga and meditate frequently. These things have helped me cope, however it was a scary place when not even my closest friends knew what was going on.
Suicide can affect anyone. There's not just one story or one type of struggle. There's not just one solution.
During my sophomore year of high school, I struggled with an eating disorder. I used to say that I'd rather be in a coffin because I was the messed up child. Through my eating disorder, it controlled my everyday life, but thanks to a lot of therapy, I was able to overcome it. Even though it is still an everyday battle, I see that my life is beautiful and worth living.
I had suffered with OCD and depression my entire life, and the idea of starting high school in the next coming months became too much for me, and I tried to control my anxiety through food. I couldn't focus on schoolwork or hang out with friends without being completely consumed with my weight. I decided this wasn't a way to go through life, and I reached out for help. I was pulled out of school my freshman year in January to complete my treatment of anorexia at a local hospital. I learned that reaching out for help wasn't shameful, but it instead saved my life.
I am not alone.
She is not alone.
He is not alone.
We are not alone.
You are not alone.